Hello, everybody. David Shuster here. The documentary film Melania has now made history as the worst movie ever. It has crashed to a 1.1 out of 10 rating on IMDb. That's lower than Kirk Cameron's Saving Christmas, the previous worst of the worst. Melania, which profiles Melania Trump and her family in the 20 days leading up to their 2025 return to the White House, also scored a record low rating on Rotten Tomatoes. And never mind all of those numbers, there are the film critics' reviews.
The bad news is that it is already one of the worst reviewed films of the year. Yes, even worse than Cats. Melania currently sits at just 10% on Rotten Tomatoes. One review in The Atlantic called it a disgrace. The Guardian went even further, calling it a, quote, gilded trash remake of The Zone of Interest. And one reviewer simply said, quote, do I have to read this? I'd rather rewatch January 6th. I don't know, man. Too soon.
Here are some more of the reviews. Jan Brooks from The Guardian. Melania is one of those rare unicorn films that doesn't have a single redeeming quality. I'm not even sure it qualifies as a documentary so much as an elaborate piece of designer taxidermy, horribly overpriced and ice cold to the touch. Nick Hilton in The Independent. Melania is a preening, scowling void of pure nothingness. To call Melania vapid would do a disservice to the plumes of florid vape smoke that linger around British teenagers. William Thomas in Empire. It is political propaganda at its most transparent, cynical, pointless, and very, very boring. Natasha Jokic of BuzzFeed. Last night, I left an empty chickpea can on my counter. When I came back 30 minutes later, small black bugs had swarmed the tin and were crawling over my sink. I would rather relive that moment 100 times than have to watch another minute of the movie Melania. Progressive YouTuber Adam Mockler said on CNN that the film is not a complete waste.
My unpopular opinion is that Melania's movie makes a great first date because the theater will be empty. You can bring in food, you can chat. There's nobody around there bothering you. Great first date environment. Melania's first.
Had a lot to talk about afterwards, I'm sure.
One of the things that moviegoers and critics keep talking about is Melania's pay for the film. She got $27 million. The film was produced by Amazon's Jeff Bezos for a total cost of about $80 million, including $30 million or so for marketing and advertising. Bezos has dozens of regulatory issues in front of the Trump administration, so given how much money Amazon is losing on the film, it's reasonable to suspect this was all a Bezos gift to the Trumps, or what some critics are calling a bribe. Anyway, Melania Trump's former press secretary, Stephanie Grisham, recently appeared on MS Now and noted the First Lady's skills at making money for herself.
It's executive produced by her, and I guarantee that nobody will really walk away knowing a whole lot more about her. So I think it was probably financially motivated. And I mean, girl power, go her, that she got, paid as much as she did. But, I quickly looked at her Twitter or her X account before coming on, and all it's been about is promoting this documentary and when people were dying in Minnesota. And so that really disappointed me. Again, she's got such a good platform. She actually does have such a level head and can advise him so well sometimes. And, she's using it to promote this documentary that she profited on. And it's just disappointing.
Disappointing. Well, that is not a word you will hear in the coverage of Melania on the Trump propaganda network known as Fox News. Kayleigh McEnany, who served as a Trump press secretary in his first term and now serves as a host on Fox, spoke to her panel about her mom's experience in a deep red part of Florida.
Emily, my mom went to this weekend in Florida. She said not only was the theater packed, it was, standing room only if you could try to sneak in the back of the theater. People were cheering through it. They were excited. It was interactive. People interplaying with the film. She said it was just electric.
Electric. And I think nothing underscores our prior conversation about Hollywood, the disconnectedness, the self-aggrandizement, the just absolute lack of reality than this. The horrific headlines about this, which, by the way, I received first before being able to appreciate the reaction of the people who actually saw it. A void of pure nothingness, scowling void, empty, foul, worse than we imagine. It fails on every level because I subscribe, to the WAPO and New York Times. So they come to my inbox, and I was getting this just deluge deluge of just harassing behavior and commentary about what the crowds love about a documentary that has been absolutely an explosive hit, an inside look at the First Lady and all of her stunningness and all of her exciting behind-the-scenes footage of those 20 days. Such a gorgeous woman inside and out. And for them to just absolutely destroy her.
Excuse me while I puke. I mean, good grief, Emily, you are a Trump bootlicker and a moron. People who actually study filmmaking will tell you that documentaries excel when they reveal conflict and internal contradictions, or present new information that reframes our understanding about something. Melania avoids all of that. We don't even hear anything about her choice in shoes or whether her feet hurt after hours and hours in stilettos, even though we see literally 20 different close-ups of her heels. This is a film that lingers on such surface details. Shoes, outfits, hair and makeup, all that reveal nothing of substance. There's no conflict, no introspection, no narrative drive. Without any competing forces, internal struggle, or even an attempt at introspection, this film might as well be a PowerPoint slideshow promoting Melania's glamour. But even her glamour in this film has no depth. This movie is boring, defensive, and meticulously bland. And the film doesn't amuse, enlighten, or provoke anything except regret at having wasted time watching it. And what's especially mystifying is this documentary had incredible resources, incredible access, and a globally recognized subject in Melania Trump. Still, the result was shallow and tedious. Now, some awful movies can be entertaining in their flaws. Maybe they are bold, chaotic, excessive, or perhaps misunderstood. There's nothing to misunderstand about Melania. In a world full of bad movies, this one is bad with a purpose, bad with intent, and insults filmmaking and audiences alike. And so, Melania stands out. The IMDb data and the critics are correct. This is indeed the worst movie ever made. Did you know that the big wireless carriers like Verizon and AT&T made over $18 billion in profit last year? How? By overcharging you for unlimited data, most of which you probably aren't even using. But what if you could get paid to use your phone less and only pay for the data you do use? Well, with Noble Mobile, you can. For just $50 a month on their No Bull plan, you get unlimited data, and whatever data you don't use, you get cash back right in your pocket. People who switch to Noble can save an average of $500 to $1,000 a year. It's a no-brainer. And by switching to Noble, you're directly supporting TYT and our mission of bringing you honest, independent news. So give Noble a try and make the switch today. Scan the QR code on the screen now or visit go.tyt.com/plan. That's go.tyt.com/plan. By the way, federal agents recently pointed a gun at an unarmed woman, and now those agents are getting blasted on cable news.
Look at them! In America, this is happening. This is still happening in your country.
And that is the reaction of MS Now's Joe Scarborough to one of the latest videos of federal agents in Minnesota.
Look at these thugs. Look, and he comes out with a gun, and he gets in front of the car. They're pointing the gun. They're telling her to come out. They're yelling at her. So what does she do? She's desperately calling the police, desperately asking people to call 911. She's not called. Look at this guy in front of the car.
The gun.
Get trained. Get trained before you draw your gun, you idiot.
Check out that video at the link below. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for joining us.